Yo, what's good? It's Mango Llamas here. Make sure you subscribe to my channel for daily content. I make a video every day and I post multiple shorts every day. And today we're going to be going over what I think is my best offensive PvP setup slash build. So we're just going to get right into it. So the weapons you want to be running is the double curved greatswords. Now, what I would recommend is you run double omen cleaver, but I actually only have one omen cleaver. I don't have two of them. So for my offhand great curved sword is the dismounter. Now, like I said, it would be better if you run double omen cleavers, but I only have the dismounter. Now, to be honest, you can run whatever talismans you want, but for this build specifically, you want to have the Green Turtles talisman. Now, I'll go over the Green Turtles talisman and why it's important. It's because you're running two curved greatswords and you're using the dual curved greatsword moveset for hard-hitting attacks, and you'll see it in this video. Now, you want to have the Green Turtle talisman because you want your stamina to regen faster, because you're using a lot of attacks with this build. You're using a lot of one-handed R1s, you're using a lot of two-handed movesets, and you're using a lot of the Ashes of War on this build and setup. Now, for the build I'm running this on, this is actually a full faith build. Now, since this is a full faith build, you have to run your two curved greatswords on sacred scaling. Now, like I said earlier, I would recommend this build you run it with two omen cleavers because I feel like the omen cleaver has slightly better faith scaling than the dismounter. But like I said, I don't have two omen cleavers, so in the main hand we have an omen cleaver, and in the offhand we have a dismounter. Now, I think it's actually good to have dismounter in the offhand and a omen cleaner in the main hand, because with a offhand dismounter, the heavy is different than the omen cleaver, so you can really mix it up when you want to two-hand the dismounter or if you want to two-hand the omen cleaver. Now, like I said, this is on a full faith build, so you want it on sacred scaling on both of these weapons, and what you're going to get is a B faith scaling in both of them. But the omen cleaver actually gets higher faith scaling, or just higher damage output. So we're going to go over the Ashes of War for this setup. And what you want for this setup is you can either run it in two ways. So basically in my main hand I have Bloodhound Step, and in my offhand I have Sacred Blade for the dismounter. So why the omen cleaver has Bloodhound Step, or you can switch these two around. You can either have the dismounter in the main hand, omen cleaver in the offhand, whatever you like, but make sure you're running two curved greatswords. So why I like the omen cleaver in the main hand with Bloodhound Step is because it just does more damage, just flat out. It gets slightly better faith scaling, I guess, but why I like it in the main hand with the Bloodhound Step is because if you're not really aware, if you do any sort of Bloodhound Step or Quick Step, you can follow it up with a crouch attack afterwards. Or if you dodge backwards with a Quick Step or Bloodhound Step, you actually get a back step light. So that's why I like to have Bloodhound Step, because with the dual curve swords, you get a lot of range. So once you do a Bloodhound Step, you can either follow it up with a regular one-handed light, crouching light, or you can follow it up with a regular two-handed curved sword crouching light. Or you can follow it up with a backstep one-handed light, or you can follow with the backstep two-handed curved sword light. So you have a lot of options there. Now what you'll see me do in this gameplay is you'll actually see me first, before we get into how I like to play with this build, actually, we have to go over the Sacred Blade. Now, the Sacred Blade is very important to this build. I feel like this build isn't good without Sacred Blade. Now, you can either run Sacred Blade on the main hand curved greatsword or the offhand curved greatsword, but I like to do it with the offhand curved greatsword because I like to use the dual-handed moveset with the Bloodhound step, but you can switch it up. You just do it however you like, is what I'm saying. So, with the Sacred Blade, what I like to do first in every match, I'll first two-hand the offhand curved greatsword, pop the Sacred Blade, and then switch back to the main hand curved sword so I can dual wield them. Now, it's all preference. So you can either start off by two-handing most of the time and using two-handed attacks, but for me, I like to start off with the two-handed attacks and then switch to the one-handed attacks when I feel like I'm having a hard time, so I can get more poise damage and just get more damage output. But how I like to play with this build, like I said, this build is, you can run whatever talismans you want. So if you want more damage, you can obviously run more damage talismans, but I just make sure you have the Green Turtles talismans. But how I like to run my talismans, I like to go all defensive no matter what. Just if I'm not naked and running the Blue Dancer's Charm, I'm running full defensive talismans. So that means I'm running the Green Turtles talisman, the Bull Goat's talisman, Great Jar's Arsenal, and the Dragon Crest Shield talisman. Those four I'm always running if I'm just wearing armor. Specifically heavy armor if I have a really heavy load. So we're going to get into some bonus features of this build / setup. And like I said, this is on a full faith setup. So you can use some incantations as well. So basically, a full faith setup or a full faith build to me is just 80 faith. Okay, you just want to have 80 faith. Plus you need 80 faith for the damage on the Sacred Omen Cleaver and the Sacred Dismounter. Now, why I'm running on a full faith build is just my preference. I really like full faith builds. But the bonus to this, like I said, we're talking about the bonuses to this kind of setup, is you can use incantations. Now, there are 4 main incantations that you can use on this build, but I feel like these are only for emergency cases because I don't really feel like you need it because of how hard your curved greatswords are gonna hit. So the fucking incantations are Bestial Sling, I think it's called Lightning Bolt, Blessings of the Erdtree, and Giant's Flame Take Thee. Now you're probably wondering, why do I have Blessings of the Erdtree? Bro, like, to be honest, I don't really condone it. People say it's wrong, but the only thing bad I feel like is wrong on Elden Ring PvP is using fucking Erdtree heal. If you're not aware what that is, Erdtree heal, you get heal a flat amount of HP. Like, you instantly get healed, basically to full health with Erdtree heal. But with Blessings of the Erdtree, it's a overtime heal, so it heals you over time. It's like, I think 10 HP per second, so it's like an overtime heal. So sometimes that's kind of my cheese, basically. Okay, I get a lot of comments saying, yo, you're pretty cheesy, or I run cheesy shit. I feel like the only thing cheesy I really do is spam Bestial Sling and pop Blessings of the Erdtree. That's like the only buff I'm running is Blessings of the Erdtree. So if you don't want to use it, don't use it. But to be honest, I'm using it because I find it's really good, and I don't find it like as cheesy as Erdtree heals, so I'm gonna use it. So that's an incantation you get to see me use sometimes in this video. Also, there's Giant Flames Take Thee and Bestial Sling. Now, if I'm really having a hard time, then I'm gonna be spamming Bestial Sling. I'm gonna stop using two great swords. I'm gonna pull out my seal, which is basically can be any seal for a full faith build. You can run whatever seal you like, but I'm running the Godslayer seal, so I'll just whip out my seal and I'll start spamming Bestial Sling. And sometimes to catch people off guard, I'll use my Giant's Flame Take Thee when they least expect it, because people will think when you're running this setup, oh, it's like, oh, this guy doesn't have any incantations, doesn't have any hard-hitting incantations, so you just whip out the Giant's Flame Take Thee when they least expect it, and it's like big damage right there. That's why I feel like this is the best offensive setup to me, because you have a lot of variety with the dual curved greatsword moveset, especially with the dual curved greatsword moveset. It just dishes out a lot of damage. Plus you have the Giant's Flame Take Thee, which even is more damage. Now to top it all off with the armor, you can run whatever armor you want, but my build specifically doesn't have a lot of endurance, so I'm just running the full Royal Remains armor set. If you don't know what it does, it just basically heals you up once you're at like below 12% HP or like somewhere around that. It just basically gives you another overtime heal, but it only works when you're below 12% HP. So that is basically my whole build. If you're missing anything, I don't think I missed anything. So this is a full complete guide to my most offensive setup on Elden Ring PvP. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, and like this video. I really like reading comments, so please leave a comment. I'll respond to it. I respond to all comments, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, yo.